Welcome back to the JCPod, partner with Stare Down Sports. Stare down greatness, and man, does it feel good to be back. Long time no see. Basically had a unintentional week off. Really planned on doing some shows. Week just got super busy. Kind of took a little dead period to enjoy some March Madness and everything. But man, NFL draft is next week. We back, man. There might be one more. I might take like one more week off potentially for the rest of the summer, and then that's probably going to be it. Because basically in about April, so basically end of May, we begin our. End of May, start of June, we're basically going to be beginning our countdown to not even our countdown. Let me rephrase that. It's not a countdown. It's a breakdown of what bets I like, what teams we might like, all that stuff. A lot of the stuff we got to go over, breaking down divisions, player props. That's, like I said, that's basically right around the corner, and it's hard to believe, man. It's truly, we've already had Masters is come and gone. March Madness is come and gone. The NBA playoffs basically starts tonight with the play-in games. Sports, man. They taking over. But yeah, I just basically wanted to, man, it just feels good to be back. It really does. But I wanted to talk today. Today's going to be very, very simple. We're kind of just, I don't want to say just kind of dragging our feet, but it's a little bit of dragging our feet till we get to basically this NFL draft. We have today, for example, we're going to talk a little bit about obviously Jackie Robinson Day as well in baseball. Shout out to Jackie Robinson, obviously, for everything he's done. Very influential in the sports world, and not only the sports world. Modern. I would say modern culture in general. He's a big part of it. Obviously, Martin Luther King Jr. has come out and said, without Jackie Robinson, I don't know if I'd be able to do what I do. And yeah, Jackie Robinson. I think we all know the name. So I just wanted to give a quick shout out to that. But today we're going to talk a little bit about Florida winning national championship. We'll finish up the chapter of March Madness. Basically close that book, put it away until next season. I want to talk a little bit about Rory's master win because, wow, that was a. I don't know how to describe it, honestly. That was truly awesome to watch and get to be a part of. Just basically a part of watching that weekend. That was truly something special. And then I'm going to end it off with basically some win totals. We're going to go over all of the NFL win totals quickly. There's basically, I think, 11 for sure I want to talk about. And there's about 3 or 4 I really want to bet on. I know it's way too early. As you can see, way too early for these NFL win totals. But there's a few that I like that I don't know if they're for sure going to be there after draft day. And I really want to get some of these numbers before they move. And then there's 5 or 6 I want to go over in college. And then that's basically going to be it today. Just nice little simple one to get back in it. And then we'll be back Thursday with, I don't know, something NFL related. Maybe talk a little bit of NBA playoffs, obviously, because that's going to be going on. But yeah, without any further ado, we're going to basically jump right in. And we're going to, before we get over the Grand Slam and everything that we got to watch this weekend, we're going to go a week or two back and we're going to talk about that national championship between Houston and Florida. Because, man, I thought Houston had it won. Yeah, to basically touch on it, we'll quickly go over Houston. Wow. What a heartbreaker. I'm not going to lie. I truly thought Houston won that game at that point. They played a really good basketball game. They played Houston's game, and Florida basically did what Florida did for most of that March Madness run. And even though they were down, they just managed to kind of chip away. A little bit close at the end, and then they sealed it at the end to have a victory. Walter Clayton wasn't doing much of shit for most of the game, and then when it mattered most, he finally started to turn it on. I believe he won Final Four Most Outstanding Player, which is very well deserved. It's he just played really, really good. It just sucks because I won't lie. Obviously, I picked Houston to win. If Houston would have won, I would have picked the national champion for 5. Ever since COVID. Since COVID, I picked Baylor to win that one. That was just luck. I won't lie to you. I'm not going to act like I knew anything. Kansas, kind of just lucked out on that one again a little bit. Kind of felt it, but just from a little bit talking to Rowan and everything. Then Rowan helped me with the 2 UConn ones. And those I just watched a little bit more college basketball. So this, if I would have got this right, 5 years in a row I would have picked the national champion, which is really, really cool. I was the only one in my pool who would have picked Houston. I would have lost by 10 points. The winner, he had Florida, would have had 13-30. I would have had 13-20. Heartbreaker. That I would have been the only one to pick Houston and still lost. So that just goes to show you that, yeah, the bracket I made, a little bit dicey. But, like I said, I thought Houston was going to win that game the whole time. Just watching them. They're up 12 at one point with like 15 minutes to go, and you're just like, okay. Yes, okay. It feels like they might do it. And then, like I said, it just slowly as the game goes on, just like chip, 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 chip. And it's just like, now it's 8. Now it's kind of 6. Now it's 4. Okay. And then I think what the real killer is them not getting any shots off basically the last 3 possessions, that being Houston. Just sucks. I mean, if you would have told me Florida would have won a game in the 60s, I would have said you're crazy. They would have had to at least score like 70 or 80. If that game got down to 60s, I truly thought that meant that Houston was going to win it. And it just, at the end of the game, it just got a little bit tight. The players just weren't, like I said, weren't able to get some shots up. Sharp, I feel so bad for Sharp, man. That's the thing that, I mean, we'll talk about it a little bit with Rory too, but that's something that he's going to think about for the rest. And it's kind of ironic that we're talking about it today because you basically get one side of each moment. A kid has a chance to put up a shot to win the national championship if it goes in potentially, and he doesn't get the shot off. Instead, basically he's in there, drops it on the ground with the dribble, and as you know, can't dribble it again after you do that. So he's basically just standing around the ball praying that somebody basically can realize, like, hey, we need to grab the ball now. Before the other team does, they don't even get a shot up like in the last 3 possessions. So Florida is your national champion of the collegiate basketball season. What a great run by them. I don't got too much more to add on to it. Sucks for Houston. That's one of those losses, like I said, it's just like, man. Especially being up as much as you were. Really thought they were going to win it. And now Kelvin Sampson has to kind of wonder when he goes to bed at night. It's like, man, is that going to be my only chance to win the national championship? I kind of hope this team has a very similar, like, kind of arc to Purdue. Purdue's arc was a bit different, though. Like, they lost in the first round to FDU and then made a run to national championship and still lost. But I'm hoping potentially for Houston's sake they can kind of do something similar to that, where they're able to, maybe go on a run next year, make it back to the national championship, and instead win it. Because the biggest thing for Purdue is, like, they lost a lot in the first rounds for a couple of years, so it's like, all right, is Purdue even going to make a run? And then they finally made that run that got basically the monkey off their back, where it's like, oh, thank God. Finally got that over with. We finally made it. We finally got the first round. Now it's going to be a wonder if Houston can do it, because, yeah, like I said, that's a tough loss to have, especially when you basically, I don't want to say had that game won, but you were doing everything that you should have done to win that game, and it ends up in an L. Truly sucks. So that basically leads us into where I want to talk about next, which is Rory McIlroy and the Masters. I'm not going to act like I watched the golf tournament all day Thursday, Friday. I really, really didn't too much. Especially Friday, I watched a little bit of it, and then basically dipped, and then focused mainly on Saturday, Sunday, but all the things I heard from a lot of the golf people I listened to was, the biggest thing I heard from this weekend was if Rory plays good on Thursday, that's going to be good for him leading into the weekend, because he usually struggles on Thursdays, and that's what screws him in the Masters. And sure enough, you look back at the Masters cards on Thursday, and Rory had a pretty good round. So you're sitting there, it's like, okay. So in the back of my mind, I'm immediately like, okay, so Rory's going to be in contention for this. Now, I'll admit, I hit 2 top 20 parlays. Wasn't anything crazy. It's just, I think one was like Colin Morikawa, John Rahm, and Bryson DeChambeau, and the other one was Bryson DeChambeau, Colin Morikawa, Xander Schauffele, and Rory was the other one. So I hit both of those, which was really nice. Bet on Bryson DeChambeau to win it on Thursday, and then Friday I took Justin Rose. So it was kind of nice. I really enjoyed that playoff hole, which I'll get to in a second, but we'll talk about the Justin Rose part as well. Man, it was just like I said, it was an awesome Masters. It's a little bit back and forth. Justin Rose takes the lead for the first 2 rounds, going into Sunday, he kind of loses the lead. It goes back to Rory having the lead, and then DeChambeau's in second. They end up becoming the final pairing, that being Rory and DeChambeau. And man, that Sunday golf was awesome. Rory right away, double bogey to start off. So you're sitting there, it's like, all right, Bryson's probably going to run away with this. Like, there's a chance that Bryson, because coming in, I mean, Bryson got the big roar when he was running up. Rory got the big roar. And as well, so then it moved on. It's like, okay, kind of looks like and then Rory's able to recover a little bit, starts playing a lot better. And then out of nowhere, Rory just takes off. He starts to get a big lead again, or starts to get that lead again. And all of a sudden, you see Bryson start to struggle a little bit, and then Bryson just basically hits the ball in the water, and that was his day. He had 2 or 3 bad holes in a row that basically took him from second to fifth, and I believe he finished about fifth or fourth because of that, which really, really sucks, because basically, I want to say he had 2 or 3 bad shots, and then that just basically got into his head. As you can see, he was kind of pushing a little bit, kind of pressing, and then he missed. The next hole, he ended up bogeying, and then I think he bogeyed the hole after that, so there's a little hangover effect, which really, really sucks. Because like I said, he started the day at -10, and he finished with like -7 or something. So he just had a horrible, horrible Sunday, which really sucks. The winner ended up being -12. So literally, if Bryson just had an average Sunday, he would have had a chance to win a green jacket. But that's the difference in these amazing golfers and what separates them from each other, and then what separates them from us is like when they have bad shots, even if they have multiple in a row, they're usually able to recover. And if you do have a bad shot with those great peers, it's like you're really going to pay for it. And that's kind of what happened with Rory, where he was able to take advantage. And then I forget what hole it was, 13, 15, 14, or somewhere around there. He kind of took a bit of a lack. It's one of those shots where it's just like, instead of playing to win, it's like, all right, I'm just going to keep it safe and play this a little bit short. And he ended up bogeying a hole, which was that 18 actually? That might have actually been 18. Yeah, so we're going to come back to that. So basically, it was 17, 17 first. He hit an amazing shot, which I'm sure a lot of you have seen on X at this point, if you are a fan of sports, especially a fan of the Masters, where he hit an absolutely beautiful shot to put it in within, I think it was eagle or birdie, put it absolutely close. Basically has a 1-stroke lead going into 18. And as of now, Justin Rose is already in the clubhouse. He had an insane, I believe, 18-foot putt to make birdie that put him at -11. Rory's at -12 at this point. Like I said, Bryson's basically out of it. So it's to the point now where it's like, if Rory pars this hole, he wins the Masters, he completes his career Grand Slam. And mind you, this is the 11th attempt he's had at the Grand Slam. The 11th. And this has all been at the Masters, so to finish the Grand Slam. So this is his 11th attempt at it. First shot, and like I said, earlier in the round, he kind of played a little bit soft. It kind of screwed him up a little bit. So then he started playing a little bit aggressive. And then it felt like, I don't want to say he played it soft here or something, but even before he got to this point, there was one he hit in the water where there's a lot of guys saying, like, it looked like he was aimed over here when he really should have been aimed over here. So there's, like I said, there's a lot of mixed opportunities. So there, at this point, you're at the edge of your seat, and you're really wondering, like, okay, is Rory really going to choke this, or is he going to have a chance? So first shot goes somewhat decent, not a bad drive. Second shot goes in the sand. And this is on 18 now, so you're kind of like, okay, that's going to be a bit of an issue. Third shot out of the sand, you're like, all right, if he's going to just get it close, he'll be fine. Chips it in. Gets about, like, I would say 5 to 8 feet away from the hole, and you're sitting there like, being a guy who golfs, I'm not going to act like, I'm not going to compare myself to these golfers, obviously, because there's a big, big difference. Like, I would say my average score is like 86, 88. These guys are averaging probably, on the courses I play, they probably average like 50s, 40s, but you were sitting there, and after you watched that chip, me being the guy I am, I'm like, man, I would have liked that a little bit closer. That's a bit of a long putt. And I feel like Rory might have had the similar feeling, because you see him, he putts. It looks like it's not going to, basically just hangs on the left of the hole the whole time, doesn't go either that or, to hang on the left or right. I can't remember, but it basically stood on that side of the hole the whole time where you're watching it. It's not even going to go in. And this is something I didn't even notice a little bit, but shout out to, I believe it was Ryan Russillo who pointed it out. Rory kind of gave it like a little smile there at that moment where you're like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Is that really what just happened? Like one of those, all right. And then he immediately had to lock back in. You see him hug his wife and everything. It's like, hey, I would love for this to be the end of the Masters. But he ends up bogeying the hole, goes to a playoff with Justin Rose. First shots for each of them. Rory's a little bit closer with his drive than Justin. Justin, from 157 out, puts it within like, I would say like 10 to 8 feet of the hole. And then Rory from 125 out has an amazing shot where basically you just, ball lands on top, perfectly curls back into the hole for a perfect birdie putt, and yeah, the rest is history. It goes from a moment where you're sitting there wondering, like, man, is Rory gonna do it again? Is he gonna blow? Because I won't lie to you, I don't know if you can recover from this type of collapse. If he would have lost right there in the Masters, like that's one of those ones where it's like, because he basically had to lead the whole day. Not only was he the favorite, he basically had to lead all of Sunday after the first hole. Basically claimed it back, and it was like, hey, it's basically his Masters to lose. And he almost did lose it, like I said, with that putt where it came dangerously close to like costing him. But then he basically, ironic how it works, I'm not gonna say he gets basically the same putt, but it's almost the same, like almost same spot, just a tad bit closer. This time he drills it, and I won't lie to you, like I got a bit emotional, man. Being a guy, like I said, at this point, I had Justin Rose, and it was like, I think 20 to win like 420. So it was like 20 to 1 odds. So I'm sitting here like, man, that'd be really, really awesome with Justin Rose. But just, that's one of those weird moments in sports where it's like, honestly, I hate to say it. Like, I also had money too, so that maybe helped out a little bit. I already won at least like 300-ish, I think, total from those 2 parlays. So I'm just sitting here wondering, like, man, is he gonna? That'd be cool to see Rory. I was kind of got to the point, I'm like, is he gonna do it? You know what? If he does it, I'd be really happy for him because this is like a career-defining moment. And when am I ever gonna see a chance for a Grand Slam again? Like Tiger did his in 2000 when I was 1 year old. We didn't see another one again until I believe Rory now at this point. So I was just sitting there basically just like, you know what? If he does win, this would be a really cool moment. And just like the second he hit the putt, I'm like, oh, that's good. And then you watch it fall and just the immediate like you just see the immediate relief, the immediate celebration. I mean, that was also shout out to CBS, basically having a 6 minutes of just the announcers not really talking at all, watching Rory's walk up. I mean, that was just truly special, man. Because like I said, I don't know when we're gonna witness the next Grand Slam in golf. I truly have zero clue. It could be another 30 years, it could be another 50 years, it could be 2 years from now. I just don't know when we'll get another chance to witness history like this. So it was just awesome for me to be able to witness that because it was just something that, like I said, really, really was truly special. And it's just something that I'll never forget. It's like, hey, I watched Rory win the and whenever they show up the Grand Slam winners, I always remember where I was at watching, which is just truly, truly awesome. So I just wanted to bring that up. Like I said, shout out to Florida Gators for winning the national championship. Shout out Rory McIlroy for completing the grandest of slams, the Grand Slam. And I mean, hey, what better place to do it than getting a green jacket? Like I said, now he gets a green jacket. Just you might not like Rory too much as a person or anything, but just watching an athlete just do something like that is truly, truly special, man. Because like I said, this is a guy who now for 11 years in a row, because it's 11th attempt. Now, he might have not made the Masters every single year, so it might have been a tad bit longer, but basically, I lied. I think he made it every year, but for basically 11 attempts in a row, it's like, can I get it? And I think sometimes just miss the cut. It's like, am I going to do it? Am I going to do it? And then they brought up the story about how Rory's dad worked this many hours so he could hit golf so basically he could just have a life damn near, and it's just like, this is the only golf thing I can afford, hit every ball like a manager. You hear stuff like that, it's like, man. Because like, personally for me too, like, I've seen so many, like, I'm not going to say similar stories, but you see the stories like that where it's like, people, where it's like, man, if you just had a better situation, if you just got a little bit lucky there. So seeing a situation like this, like I said, where a guy's able to go down basically as one of the greatest golfers ever now. He's obviously way before this. He's done everything for his family to where they don't have to work again. But just all that builds into this one moment where he basically hits a putt and you can just see all that, like all the hard work, everything years of dedication, years of working toward to get that damn green jacket. And now, damn, I'm about to cry, man. No, but just really cool. It's really, truly awesome, man, like I said. And just shout out to Rory. That's just something, like I said, really, really special. I'm glad I got to witness. With that being said, we're going to now, like I said, this is going to be too long. This is like I said, not going to be too long. Way too early to be doing this. We're going to talk some win totals real quick. Just like I said, there's something I really want to get on where it's like they have a good schedule. It's a good number. Because we don't know their schedule for sure. We just know kind of like the team, especially in NFL. NFL, we don't know schedules. We kind of know the teams they're playing. College, I think we have a general idea of the schedule, but I'm not going to sit here and be like, I've looked through who they're going to play 15 times and know this. Like, these are basically leans. Like I said, there's a few bets I am going to take, but these are basically kind of early leans I just want to kind of go over. So we're going to begin with Michigan State. Michigan State over 5.5 at -122 is one that I'm really considering just for the fact that if their quarterback can take a step up, I think that they have a really good chance at this over. I believe with their non-con, they realistically should go either 3-0 or 4-0. Off the top of my head, if I can remember their non-conference. So that they can go 3-0, 4-0 non-con. You need to win 2 games in conference. I believe their schedule's a little bit nicer. Like, I don't think they play Ohio State. I think they do play Michigan. I can't be 100% sure, but there's like, but they don't play Oregon. Like, some of these heavy hitters, they only play, I think, one of like the 3 or 4 they can. So I do like said the over 5.5 is one that I don't know if I'm going to take for sure or not, but it's one I'm definitely leaning towards. One I am, as of right now, like, I'll write it down as well. This is one I'm for sure going to take. Iowa. They're over-unders at 7.5. I just think this is going to be basically, like, it's -162. Like I said, I don't remember totally their schedule off the top of my head, but I just don't think they're going to have the best of years. It sounds like basically from what I've heard. By the way, this is minus 160, so this is some heavy, heavy juice. But from some of the stuff I've been hearing, like the recruiting hasn't been the best when it comes to like offensive, defensive linemen. Like from years past, like compared to who they've been getting to who they're kind of getting now, it sounds like it's getting a bit. Basically, from what I understand, best way to put it, watered down. It's heard like I'm not saying Iowa's gonna be horrible, but it sounds like it's a bit more of a watered down Iowa than years past. And like I said, I just think like 8-4. I think they're gonna be 8-4 or 7-5. So that's basically the 7.5 win total is kind of like perfect for it. I just don't, especially offensively. I don't know what they're gonna do offensively based on like kind of the stuff I've been hearing in the offseason. So that's why I just like I don't see how they're gonna win 7 games, but could be wrong. Another one I'm interested in: Texas Tech over 8.5. This is simply a schedule play. Off the top of my head, I can't fully remember, but they have basically a very, very favorable schedule that a lot of the guys I listen to in the college football world basically are making it sound like the coach is going to get fired if he doesn't win like 9 to 10 games with this football schedule. Let me see if I can find it. They got it up. Here we go. So this is for Texas. Okay, here we go. Yeah. So they play Arkansas, Pine Bluff, Kent State, Oregon State, Utah. Mind you, these are not the same. Like Utah's not the same Utah. They don't have Cam Rising, anything like that. So this is realistically that could be about 4-0 maybe. Houston, Kansas, Arizona State, Oklahoma State, Kansas State, BYU, UCF, West Virginia. So realistically, if we're going off, I mean Arkansas, Pine Bluff, that's a win. Should be Kent State. Should be Oregon State. Probably could be Utah. There's 4. Probably should be Houston. There's 5. Kansas is not going to be the same, so there's another chance. And then we're basically asking for 3 wins the rest of their schedule. I mean, basically, their schedule is going to be a little tough, but also their offense has been a step up from what it is. This is one of the better Texas Tech rosters they've had in recent years as well, so it's a mix of that. Like I said, I just read over their schedule. It's 8.5 at plus 124. A lot of the people I like kind of have them over. Now, I'm not going to be shocked if they do go under, but this is one of those ones where it's like, I'm almost betting the number. Like, I'm projecting this team to win about, like I said, I haven't run the numbers or anything as well, but just based on reading their schedule, kind of hearing the stuff I have, I could see this team winning about 9 to 10 games. Like, they did 9-3, 10-2 based on that schedule with how good they supposedly are supposed to be next year. So that's kind of why I lean them, but also what scares me is Oklahoma State. For example, Oklahoma State last year was one of those teams all offseason like, hey, they're supposed to be good, they should really be good, and it's a team that I got to ride with, and then they had one of the worst seasons they've had in years, and it's just like, holy shit, what happened to you guys? You guys went from being really good the year before to just basically falling off a cliff. So, like I said, Texas Tech, one of the better roster, should be one of the better rosters in the Big 12, and I like what I see. I like the potential 8.5, and I love that it's plus money. So, because it's like 9-3 is definitely doable. And like I said, there's a chance that this coach might end up, he might be in some trouble if he doesn't get these wins. I don't know if that's changed any in the couple of weeks since I've heard, but I wouldn't be shocked if it didn't. This is basically going to be what I call this might be my favorite bet of the season so far that I found. If it's not this one, it's going to be, I don't know, maybe it might be the next one I talk about. If not, I would say maybe the Iowa unders. But West Virginia over 5.5 is plus money. This is a simple, this is like a culture change thing. So if you remember last year, I compared this to Indiana. Indiana, they go from, I forget who the coach was for, but they bring in our boy, the Sig, Kurt Signetti. And after watching what he did at James Madison, I was sitting here like, all right, this should be basically a culture flip. They should go to winning. The win total was like way too low. And it's in here, it's like they should be a bowl team. And what happened? Not only were they a bowl team, they made the college football playoffs. So I'm looking in the Big 12, man. West Virginia. We're going to think about it. Their coach last year, Neil Brown. This team won about 6 games with Neil Brown. And in the great words of Pat McAfee, he seems to compliment the other team in how well they were coached and how he was outcoached and how well they played every single game. So if you're telling me that West Virginia team won 6 games, right, and now they're bringing in Rich Rod, and you're telling me the win total over-under is at 5.5 plus money, give me that plus money. Rich Rod, coming from Jacksonville State, which you might recognize that name. Yeah, the last couple years he's been coaching at Jacksonville State. They've been, I'm not going to say a cash cow for us, but they've been raking in that money. So I think this is a very similar situation to what Indiana had, where Kirk Cignetti goes from James Madison to Indiana, brings a couple of his guys, flips the culture around, and they become winning. I see the same thing basically happening here with Kurt Cignetti, or not. I see the same thing happening that Kurt Cignetti did here with the return of Rich Rod. I mean, we're going to go over their schedule real quick, too, now that I know that college football at least has theirs out. Because, yeah, I really do think that this is a team that should have a... So, here we go. So, this is their schedule. So, they are going to play Robert Morris. They're home for Robert Morris, away for Ohio. This is Ohio in the MAC. Home for Pitt, away for Kansas, home for Utah, away for BYU, away for UCF, home for TCU, away for Houston, home for Colorado, away for Arizona State, and home for Texas Tech. So realistically, the way I see it, Robert Morris should be a win, Ohio should be a win. Pitt might be a little bit of a tough one, but I'm not going to say realistically they should win that game, but they should start off 2-0 the season. Maybe they'll be 2-1. I think they can really beat Kansas. They'll be 3-1. If not, we'll say 3-2. I think they'll beat Utah. There's 4-2 at worst. So basically, after the Utah game, they have to win 2 games the rest of the season between BYU, UCF, TCU, Houston, Colorado, Arizona State, and Texas Tech. Like I said, their schedule's a little bit tougher than some of the other ones, but I think with the coaching changes, I think this is going to be a bowl team. I think West Virginia's potentially be a bowl team sitting around like 8-4. So the win total at being over 5.5 plus money is really, really nice. And like I said, I will, at the very end of this, I actually didn't say this. So unlike said, what I meant to say earlier was, at the end of this, I'll give out like the 3 or 4 that I really, really love for college and NFL. But this West Virginia over 5.5 is one that within the next like week or so, that's going to be like damn near if I have something I think bet tonight in baseball. If that hits, it's pretty much, that might be going into West Virginia. West Virginia is by far, like I said, my favorite one. I think Maryland, over under 4.5. That's another one I like, and we got basically 2 more I want to talk about, and then we'll move to the NFL. Maryland, over under at 4.5. I think this is a schedule play because I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly, they should have a very, very easy opening non-con schedule. Yeah, Florida Atlantic, Northern Illinois, Townsend, and they should be 3-0. Realistically, they should be 3-0 before they start Big Ten play, which then they'll play Wisconsin, Washington, Nebraska, UCLA, Indiana, Rutgers, Illinois, Michigan, Michigan State. So you're telling me after reading that whole schedule, Maryland's not going to win 4 games? Or sorry, not going to win 5 games? Like I said, they should beat Florida Atlantic, they should beat Northern Illinois, and they should beat Townsend. All 3 of those are home games. That's 3-0. We need 2 wins the rest of the season, and they have Wisconsin, Washington, Nebraska, UCLA, Indiana, Rutgers, Illinois, Michigan, Michigan State. Like that, I'm not going to say they're going to struggle a little bit next year, but I think that this is a team that can at least win 5 games. And their over-unders at 4.5. Last I looked, it was minus 115. That is another West Virginia and Maryland by far. If you take anything away from today, Maryland's over, West Virginia's over are by far my 2 favorite plays. I'm thinking about Florida State over 7.5. I just think they would regress back to the mean, be 8-4, go to a bowl game. Mainly 1 because the coach needs to save his job, and then 2, I just think that Florida State should be a way better team than they were last year. But what's going to be interesting to see as well, with the last one I'm bringing up, North Carolina over 7.5. Nico Iamaleava is out there right now, and he's not. And from what it sounds like, there's a lot of people on the inside are kind of like, even the quarterback he played with at Florida, or he transferred from Tennessee to Florida, he almost basically came out and said, yeah, I kind of expected him to do this. But then he kind of walked it back in the middle of the saying, he was like, yeah, and basically gave the cliche, like, he's a hard worker. The situation wasn't for him, maybe something like that. But he basically almost came out and said, like, I'm not too surprised by that, honestly. But before he finished that sentence, he went off something else. That was something that was like, you don't act like he tried to basically spent a minute trying to walk back what he said in 2 seconds. And the win totals, I want to see if UNC's changed. There's a lot of rumors that Nico is going to end up there. So that's why I want to see if this North Carolina win. Oh, that's NC State, sorry. I was about to say, damn, it has moved. But nope, it's still the same. That's 7.5 over under. I think Bill Belichick can have that team going 8-4. But I'm not going to bet it just yet. Like I said, it's way too early in the season. But there are some I like. And I just want to bring some of these up because, like I said, North Carolina and FSU are one side. I'm just like trying to. FSU for sure. I'm probably going to end up taking off the list if I force myself to take 1 or 2 off. FSU is the first one off. North Carolina might be behind them. I'm just trying to sit here and like, man, I understand it might take some time, but North Carolina realistically should win 8 games. You would think, especially with Bill Belichick. Let's see if they even have their schedule 2025. So TCU, Charlotte, Richmond, UCF, Clemson, Cal, Virginia, Syracuse, Stanford, Wake Forest, Duke, NC State. I mean, they damn near might be able to win 10 games, honestly. But it just comes down to a North Carolina thing where it's like, yes, Bill Belichick is coaching. Yes, it is his players. But it's like, how are they going to play under him? What's this going to look like? I kind of want to see it a little bit. But that 7.5 is talking to me a little bit. So there is a chance that we do end up... I might end up taking that 7.5. But that's kind of what I'm thinking there. And now we're going to finally end it off with NFL win totals. I said I was going to bring them all up. There's actually... Let's be honest. There's really no point. I don't need to bring up every win total because they're going to change by after the draft. So I want to see if I do have them saved. I do. Let's see if any of these have moved. I don't know. I don't think any of these have really moved from what I'm seeing. There's 9 I really, really want to bring up, so I'm going to talk about those 9 at the end. By the way, I'm using multiple books for looking at the odds, so if you wonder why the odds are off by just a little bit, just know there's a potential chance that I'm using, say, you could be on FanDuel and I'm on DraftKings looking, or I'm on BetMGM and DraftKings and you're on FanDuel, or I'm on FanDuel and you're on BetMGM or DraftKings. Like, one of those situations, so just know that my odds are from multiple books. I'm just trying to find... I will admit, I'm not going to say all of them are the best odds, but I've been trying to find the best odds for most of them. So like I said, let's move on to NFL now. So NFL win totals. I like how this... Yes, they did this so much better there. So we're going to just basically go down the list. It's kind of in alphabetical order. Like I said, there's some I'm going to be talking about. Some I'll literally just talk about, and then some I'll actually like go in depth of. And there'll be some I'll literally be like, for example, Cleveland Browns over 4.5. All right, next one. But we'll get through it. Cleveland Browns over 4.5 though. Like I said, they're minus 160 for the over. I just don't think I'm going to touch it because I just don't know who their quarterback's going to be. It sounds like it could be Joe Flacco. It sounds like they might draft they could draft somebody later if Shedeur falls super late into like the teens or 20s. There's a chance that, like I said, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett. I don't know. So I'm not too worried about that one just yet. LA Chargers, they're over 9.5 win total. It's minus 110 to both sides. Not horrible at all. That's just another one where I want to see kind of what their schedule looks like before I take that one. But 9.5 feels like a kind of good number. Rams as well, they're over-unders at 9.5 with Stafford returning. So just to and also, mind you, these are just to keep these are numbers just to keep in mind as the season goes, or like as we enter like draft season. Because after, I think, basically this weekend, especially because Master Season's over, after some of this NBA playoff betting, I think there's going to be a lot of more public money flooded into like the draft markets and everything. And then we're slowly going to see, after the NFL draft, like some of these numbers are slowly going to change and go this way or go down, go up. And that's why... Specifically, I know for sure there's 3 I want to jump in on, but there's 9 that I'm really interested in as of right now that I want to try to get in before the number I feel like might move against me. Here's one that I'm kind of interested in right now. New England Patriots over 8.5 win totals, plus 115. Them just go 9-8 doesn't seem too unrealistic, especially with Vrabel. Because Vrabel, I'm basically putting this down as Vrabel category. You know what? I might write this down because I think that there's a good chance of this. So hold on. New England over 8.5 plus 115. I truly think that New England has a chance to win 9 games. I think Drake May is pretty talented. It's going to be interesting to see who they draft at 4. If Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter end up falling to them. The way it sounds, it doesn't sound like that's potentially going to happen anymore. So really after those first 3, then that's where the draft opens up because there's mocks of them taking Will Campbell. Some of them have taken Mason Graham. It's really going to be interesting who the Patriots take there, but I just think that Drake May showed some flashes last year. He almost won them. I think it was either the last game or second to last game of the game of the year. He had some real moments where I believe it's second to last game of the year where he had some real moments. It's like this guy might actually have he's just gonna be all right. I think he's gonna be all right, man. I think he'll figure out this NFL stuff. So you had that. Now Mike Vrabel's coaching there. I think that's a massive coaching upgrade. Like I said, we don't know who they're playing, but not who they're playing just yet. So that's why I'm kind of skeptical a bit, but I'm just thinking, man, like you're telling me that Vrabel can't get this team 9 wins with the defense, and then he just needs, or I get like 3 to 4 wins with the defense, and then the offense just needs to win like about 5 or 6. Like I truly think that this is a team that, like I said, with mainly Vrabel, I have a lot of faith in Vrabel. I think this is going to be a flip around. So it's going to be interesting. Can they go 9-8? Because I don't think they're going to go 10-7. I don't think they're going to go 11-6. So it's basically can they go 9-8? So that's one. It's plus 115. I'm going to be okay with potentially, even if that loses. I like the plus 115 odds. So that's going to be one that I probably am going to end up jumping in on. Jets are 5.5 wins. I think I've said points most of this time. I hope it's wins. 5.5 wins for the Jets. They have Justin Fields now over there. I don't know. That's going to be interesting. New quarterback, new coach. That's going to be just. I want to just lean the under is over under 5.5 at plus 120. I'm probably going to end up staying away. I'm interested in how the Jets are going to be. Hate to say it, but last year was kind of like my last. I mentioned a little bit last year too. Like last year was kind of my year where it's like, all right, if a team's just bad, like for example, the Panthers have been bad for years, they're going to have to prove to me they can be winners. Like no more of this. The Jets pick up Aaron Rodgers, and I'm just going to say, you know what? I believe in that team. I think they're going to do it. From now on, I'm going to be firm in my stance. Like, nope. They got to prove it to me. And some of them, I'll be okay with being the last one on the train. Because, yeah, no point in trying to jump on a train early if that train's just going to break down and go nowhere. So 5.5 for the Jets. Not a horrible number. I just don't know for sure. So I'm just kind of going to stay away from that one. Another one that I'm probably for sure going to take, the Steelers. Steelers over 8.5. Even though we don't know who the quarterback is, it's plus 110. Tomlin hasn't had a losing season yet, and it's been 18. Is it 18 now? 18 years in the NFL. So until he has a losing season, I'm just going to keep betting this. They got to I think 9 or 10 wins. I think they may have got 11 last year. This ended up being one of those over/under win totals. This ended up being like one of my favorite bets from last year. Just because. The way the team was playing, it's like, yeah, this and James Cook. I think the Steelers over, and then Steelers over, win totals, Giants under win totals, and James Cook touchdowns for the season were probably my 3 favorite futures last year. And this one's pretty simple, like I said. 8.5, Tomlin doesn't have a losing season. 8-9 would be a losing season, so give me the over at 8.5, and I see this team winning another 9 or 10 games. Like I said, it's just going to be interesting to see what they do at quarterback. Seahawks, over-under, win totals at 8.5 with Sam Darnold there now. They just added Drew Lock as well to be his backup. That's going to be an interesting team. I'm definitely not taking that over-under. I just want to see how they do. Because getting rid of Geno for Sam Darnold, is that an upgrade or is that a lateral move? That's basically where I am, because I don't think it's a downgrade. I don't think moving Sam Darnold's a downgrade. But I'm just curious if it's a lateral move, or even with how bad he played last season. Is it a lateral move, or is this actually a move that's going to propel them? We'll have to see. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, over-under 9.5. Not horrible, I'll admit. I look at that 9.5 and it makes me wonder, like, man, can the Bucs have another 10-7 season? I don't see why not. I mean, they're bringing back Godwin, they're bringing back Evans, Baker's back. Ooh, it's not Rashad White. Bucky Irving seemed to be a guy for them kind of last year. I kind of am talking myself into this a little bit. We're going to write this one in red. I didn't have this one marked down, actually. This is one I'm just going to do for myself. I'm going to do a little bit more research. Just to see, like, man, do I really want to jump in on these Bucs? Basically, it's over under 9.5, and it's 105 to minus 115 on the odds. So it's basically leaning toward the plus is almost favorited, but one big boost kind of boosted the other way. Chiefs, they're over under win totals at 11.5. That moved, didn't it? I feel like that one might have moved. Let me check. Oh, shit. Did that one move? I'm going to be pretty upset if it did, because that was one I really wanted to jump in on. No, it actually stayed the same. Okay, sweet. Yeah. Kansas City, over under win total of 11.5. It's minus 110. What'd they go last year? 11.5. Sorry, I've had most of this saved because I planned on doing this episode last week. So most of this was saved from last week. So I'm trying to remember like some of the points I was going to bring up last week. With also some new points I've learned as the week's gone on. I've kind of changed my opinion slightly. But I mean, Kansas City last year, 15-2 team, only lost 2 games. So they went 15-2 last year, and they had a lot of games they could have really lost, but ended up finding ways to win. So you're telling me that same team is now goes from 15-2 to now they're only going to win 11 games? That's the main reason I'm taking that bet is because they went from a 15-2 team to under win totals at 11.5, and I just don't. They played the NFC North, I'm pretty sure. Sorry, not NFC. I think it's the NFC East. So they have that division as well. I know the AFC West is going to be a lot tougher, so I'm thinking that's where potentially some of those wins come in at. But if this KC bet gets to 10.5, I absolutely love it. 11.5 is right like at the cutting off line where it's like I'll probably take this, but I'm going to be a little bit nervous. But like I said, they went a 15-2 team that now it's getting 11. Basically, they didn't lose too many people that were, I would say, like massively important. Like obviously they lost some offensive line depth, which is going to be huge. They lost a little bit of other depth here and there, but overall, I mean, you look at it and it's like, I don't think they've lost too much depth where they should lose like 3 or 4 wins. Like that seems a bit much. So, like I said, that's why I'm just interested in it. We'll see if that one ends up making the list, but that is one of the ones for sure that it's on the chopping room floor as of right now. But like I said, love 10.5, 11.5. Bit nervous. Arizona Cardinals, their win totals at 8.5 over under plus money. I really don't know what to do with that team. It feels like every other year. Kyler's really good this year, really bad this year, kind of okay this year, good this year, bad this year. So 8.5, I kind of lean towards the under, but I really don't know there. Atlanta Falcons, their over unders at 7.5. That's another one I really don't know. I would love to see a little bit more Michael Penix this year, just to get a better read on them. Because off the top of my head, I'm struggling a bit to remember how well he played last season. So I'm going to see a little bit more from them. The Carolina Panthers, they're over under win totals at 6.5. Under 6.5, it's plus money at plus 105. I do lean the under a slight bit. I didn't take this one either, but lean the under a slight bit. Feel like this might be a 6-11 team, maybe a 7-10 team. I do think they're going to have a little bit more improvement. I do think they showed some promise last year, but still think it's going to be a team where they're like a year or two away from, or another 2 or 3 years away probably from being like a team that's like, hey, 8-4 is not a thing anymore. That's college. That'd be, what is that, 8-7, yeah. No, 8-9. So yeah, like obviously I could see him being like maybe 7 wins. So there's 7 wins, like 7-10. 6-11, kind of that this year again. The next year, I could see him maybe being like 8-9, just flirting with playoff. And then I think that third season, like truly, I think Bryson DeChambeau. I think Bryce Young still has a chance in the NFL. I'm just very interested to see how he progresses over these next 2 years. Bears over under win total at 8.5. Plus the plus side is on the plus 8.5 for them to go 9-8. I just want to see more of this Ben Johnson combo. I don't mind Caleb Williams. I think just he wasn't set up for the most success last year. And I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to take a win total over on the Bears. If anything, I would take the under, but I'm just not going to bet on the Bears. I'm going to watch them. Cause I'm kind of optimistic for them, but I want to kind of stay true to my rules where it's like, prove it to me first before I fall in love with you. So, I think the Bears have a chance to be better this year. I just don't know. I have them projected about like 8 to 10 wins. Just like without even looking at their schedule, just basically based on kind of knowing who they play, I would project about 8 and 10. So, yeah, I think I would stay away from that. Dallas Cowboys, win total over under at 7.5. I think this would be. I'll write this one in red because I'm kind of tempted to take the under, but I don't think I will. It's a new head coach, first year. Dak Prescott should be ready by the season goes. It's just their defense, man. Their defense seems to just get weaker and weaker every season. They did sign a few guys back to make it a little bit better. But now their defense seemingly isn't the weakest it's been. But now their offense seemingly is taking some hits. Tyron Smith is signing a 1-year contract to retire with the Cowboys as well. Zeke's pretty sure is gone. I mean, they have CeeDee Lamb and then a bunch of other guys are throwing to. So it's just like, man, what are you going to do with the Cowboys? And then on top of all that, like I said, they have a new coach who's not just like a big name head coach. Like, it's a coach that a lot of people are kind of like, really? That's who you're going to pick? It was an outside-the-box name. I'm not saying it's going to be horrible because eventually there has to be a coach we don't know the name of. But it's going to be very family lineage. I think it was Schottenheimer. I could be wrong about that. But I know for sure like he's in a family of coaching. So I'm not saying he's a bad coach. But it's his first head coaching gig. It's for the Dallas Cowboys. So it's going to be very interesting to see how much, not only what his life's going to be like, how much of the hand in the cookie jar is Jerry going to have? Is he going to be wiggling all them fingers in there, or is he going to kind of let this coach kind of do his thing? Because we know it's the Dallas Cowboys, so Jerry's going to be a part of it. Denver Broncos win total over under 9.5. 9.5 either way, I don't know. I won't lie to you. AFC West is going to be tough this year. I think if anything, like I said, I'm probably going to take the Chiefs, and I'm probably going to stay away from the rest of these AFC West teams because they're going to just kind of cannibalize each other. There's not that one team in the West this year like the Raiders where you're like, 2 free wins. Because I think even the Raiders might be tough. So 9.5 scares me a bit, staying away from that as of right now. Not a horrible number. Green Bay Packers over under win totals 9.5 as well. They're minus 120 to the over, plus 100 to the under. I don't know. I won't lie to you. I truly don't. know too much with them. I think 9-8 wouldn't shock me. 10-7, I could see it. 11-6, I could see them being even better. But that's another team. They play in a great division, and I would like to see a little bit more moves they make. Houston Texans, their win total over-unders at 9.5. Under is 9.5 is minus 120. I do lean that under at 9.5. Just the issue is they could literally have 4 free wins in the Titans and the Jags because both teams look like they might be really, really struggling again this year. So depending on times you place them and everything, that could be potentially for and shit. They're going to have one at least against the Colts. So there's 5 of the 9 potentially right there, right away. So it makes me a bit nervous. I just hope the AFC South puts up a bit more of a fight. If they do put up a bit more of a fight, I do like this Texans under just because I think they're going to be 9-8, maybe 10-7. So I lean in a little bit, but like I said, that's probably one I'm not going to end up taking. I might just stay away from it. Personal one for me, I'm going to take Colts. I just think the number is a tad too low. Colts over-unders at 7.5. 110 either way, so I'm gonna stick with just taking their over. I think this is an 8-9 team at minimum. I think this is an 8-9 team. I mean, they're pretty much bringing back everyone from last year. They're kind of average last year, and it's basically an improvement year this year. And now they've added like Tre'Davious Ward on defense. The biggest thing I like is they improved the defense. The biggest issue on the defense was our defensive coordinator and the DBs, and Colts improved the DBs, improved the defensive coordinator. Going to be very interesting what they do in the draft. They have Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson, who I'm not going to say they're the same player, but if you're trying to find 2 people who are kind of similar in the NFLs right now, not a bad tandem to look at. So I'm very optimistic in the Colts at least winning 8-9 games this year, and I think they can make a push for the division title. Because if you really look at it, the Titans and Jaguars are, I'm not going to say years behind, but they're like maybe 2 to 3 years like from being, I would say 1 to 2, maybe even 3 is a stretch of contention. But like the Titans need a building a bit more. The Jags are with a new coach, so like they could have some magic, but they still kind of need to figure themselves out too. So I can't take them for sure seriously. But the Colts basically should be the second best team in this division, just based right off the start. So it's just a matter of if Anthony Richardson can play. It basically just comes down to Anthony Richardson. If Anthony Richardson and he plays like to his potential, not even like to some of his potential, this over is going to be no problem. But if he continues to struggle like he did last year, and he's injured, and then they have to bounce back and forth between him and Daniel Jones a lot, then I think you'll see maybe Shane Steichen get fired. Chris Ballard's going to be gone. I think you're going to see potentially a whole clean house for the Colts. But like I said, I project this team to win about 8-9 games. I think they'll be in title contention for the division race. Because, yeah, I mean, unless the Texans, especially with the Texans' offensive line, if the Texans don't address their offensive line, good Lord, it's going to be an issue. Speaking of the Jags, under 7.5 wins. I like that one as well. It's plus money. Under 7.5 is plus 100. I just think this is a 7-10 team at best. It's a first-year new coach in Liam Cohen. I don't know for sure if Trevor Lawrence is going to be good to go for the start of the season. I believe he should be, but I could be wrong about that. I watch the AFC South every year. I watch the Jaguars every year, and I think it's been like since 2017 they've had like one kind of great year, and then past that they've just been average. They're going to do what they do. They're going to play great against some teams. They're going to destroy the Colts in Jacksonville, and then they're going to play against some of these bad teams. They're going to look beyond mediocre. They're going to get destroyed by the great teams. Against the good teams, they'll stand a chance, maybe even win a game or two. And they're going to just have another average season. That's just kind of my projection as of right now. I'm very curious to see what they do in the draft. Number 5 overall pick could be huge. A lot of people have them getting Mason Graham, which would help out their defense a lot. This is another one of those situations where, like the Bears, Jacksonville has to prove to me they're going to win for multiple years in a row because I'm not going to say we basically called this AFC South to a T last year. I'm not going to act like I'm a god for doing it, but I mean, it's watching it enough, you kind of know, and I just don't know if the Jaguars are there yet. Raiders over-unders at 6.5. I really want to see what they do at quarterback before I even consider taking that. Miami Dolphins over-unders at 8.5. I'm going to write this in red. I do lean the under. They are really, really having some issues. And then it just came out today that they're looking to potentially trade Jalen Ramsey. So under 8.5 for the Dolphins is minus 130. But yeah, like I said, there's just so much that I just don't know if ownership knows what they're totally doing over there. I don't know if they really have a plan. And yeah, it sounds like they aren't paying the guys they should. They're letting some other guys walk, and they're overpaying for some guys and then trading them the next season, like Jalen Ramsey, like Tyreek Hill. So it's just like, all right, they are an absolute mess. Vikings over under 8.5. We don't know their quarterback, so there's no reason for me to even consider taking that, but it is something to just keep an eye on and look at. This one for sure had to move, didn't it? I'm going to be absolutely shocked if this... Wait. Did I say the Jets were 5.5? Or did the Jets moved. Oh, shit. I forgot to bring that up. That's on me. So, did it move, actually? It did not. I'm just dumb. It looked like it moved. It must have read the wrong number. That's on me. That's on me. All right. Saints. This number has moved a lot, just odds-wise. Saints used to be over-under win total. Their over-under win total was at 6.5, but it went from -110 to now it's -150, which really, really sucks because if I would have bet it earlier when I wanted to, I just basically would have got better odds. But yeah, I just think this under is going to hit regardless. Derek Carr sounds like he might miss the season. Even if he doesn't miss the season, I just don't expect the Saints to be that good this year. It's the first year under Kellen Moore. I think they're going to kind of struggle a little bit, and then it's basically going to be Kellen Moore next year is going to be able to kind of build his culture, build his team. They're pretty much stuck to Derek Carr for this year anyway, so it's kind of why it's like this season's kind of like, I hate to say it, it's a lame duck season for the Saints, so I just don't see them getting over that 6.5 win total like said. Man, it's kind of cool to see some of these numbers move over the last 2 weeks. It's like Steelers have dropped from +115, +110. Saints, like I said, -110 to -150. And then while some of these have just absolutely not moved at all. And then one that has moved, actually, does it? Let me see if it moved in the odds as well. I wouldn't be shocked. It actually, damn it, it got worse. It actually really sucks. It was -120, now it's -140. So hopefully it's a little bit better on another site. But Giants, this is one I absolutely love. Like I said, at the end of the show, I'll read out all the ones I absolutely love, and for sure I'm taking Giants under 5.5. This line allegedly came out as Giants under 5.5 wins is -140. Like I said, this was -120 literally a week ago. Giants under 5.5 wins. I love this number. Came out at 3.5, and I was ready to be all up on it. And now it came out at 5, and then Russell Wilson threw a football into a crowd and everything. And then it went into 5.5, and I love it even more. I just see no way that this team wins 5 games. There's absolutely zero chance. I'm not going to say zero chance, but it's really, really low chance. If you look at their schedule, they play AFC West, NFC North. 2 of the hardest divisions to play in football, and they have to play both of them. And like I said, and also not to mention, they're in the NFC East. So they play the Eagles twice, Cowboys twice. They are the Giants, so they don't play themselves twice. Commanders twice. And they also play the AFC West with the Chiefs, Broncos, Raiders, and Chargers, all improved. And they also play the NFC North with the Bears, improved, Vikings, we'll see, Lions, improved, Packers, good. I don't see how they win 5.5 games, truly. No matter who's at quarterback, I don't understand how this team wins 5.5 games. Hate to say it, but it seems like a year where Brian Daboll's probably going to get fired, some other coaches are going to get moved on from, and that'll be another team that might potentially start new. One I'm interested in, but I haven't taken, I don't know if I'm going to take it or not, 49ers. Under 10.5 wins is -130. I just think this might be a team that's going to be basically like 10-7. I think they're going to struggle a little bit. They've lost a lot of defenders, and they've also lost a lot of guys on offense. Offensively, who they're throwing the ball to is basically Juwan Johnson, Ricky Pearsall, Brandon Ayuk with a blown out knee. He tore multiple ligaments in that knee, if you don't remember. So I'm going to be very interested to see what they do on offense. But as of right now, that's a team that I see probably going about 10-7. If they go 11-6, that'd be really, really impressive just because of the roster turnover. Titans win total over under 5.5. Under 5.5 is +125. I think this is a team about 5 to 7 wins. I'd see 7 wins being their ceiling potentially, so I don't mind this at 5.5. This might be one I take under potentially. Eagles over under 11.5. I'm just going to stay away from that one. I think Eagles are going to be a good team again, so there's no reason to jump on that one. Baltimore Ravens and Buffalo Bills. All these teams are 11.5. All favored towards the Eagles. It's -110 both sides. Ravens -115 on the over. For Bills, it's -145 on the over. These are all ones I'm just going to stay away from. These could be good numbers. I wouldn't be shocked if these teams won that many games. I'm just going to stay away from it. It's a little too big for me. One I do like, though, this one for sure had to move odds-wise. Yeah, let's see, Bengals. Where are they at? Did I not take a picture of them? Bengals, -9.5. I guess I didn't. Bengals -9.5. They are now -150. I don't think it was that bad before. But I just think this team is going to be a bit improved. They signed both Jamar Chase and T. Higgins back. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do on defense. But I think this is a team that should be. I mean, Joe Burrow can easily take this team to 10-7. So that's why I'm just like, I think this should be a playoff team. They just had horrible luck with injuries as well last year. Detroit Lions, this is another one of those ones where they lost. I think they won like 15 games last year. And now you're telling me that basically they lose both their coordinators, which is an issue. Roster isn't too changed over, but you're telling me it's 10.5 now. It's still a lot of wins, but I think that minus 10.5 is not nearly bad at all. I really do like it. I think that's potentially a chance to hit. So it's another one I like. And then Commanders, win total over under 9.5. Wouldn't be shocked if they hit the win total over again, but I don't know if I'm going to be personally taking it. So like I said, that's pretty much going to do it for today. So to finish it off, like I said, so these are win totals I love, and for sure we'll most likely be betting Iowa under 7.5. For sure going to be betting West Virginia over 5.5. This is college football right now. For sure going to be betting Maryland over 4.5 wins. Now, NFL-wise, I'm for sure going to be taking New England over 8.5, the Steelers over 8.5 wins, the Colts over 7.5 wins, the Jaguars under 7.5 wins. We're going to be taking the Saints under 6.5 wins, the Giants under 5.5 wins, Bengals over 9.5 wins, and my absolute favorites, my 3, maybe even 4, because I'll do 2 from each. My 4 favorite bets that I gave out today that I want everyone to, if you're not going to bet it, at least look at it, at least consider it. West Virginia over 5.5 wins, Maryland over 4.5 wins, the Giants under 5.5 wins in the NFL, and then I would just say we'll go Steelers over 8.5 wins just for the Tomlin record. For sure, though, I love that Giants under. Like the Saints under, and I really do think that the Steelers can win the 8.5. But yeah, don't forget, there's also some other ones I mentioned as well. So enjoy. Thank you all for watching today's report. I really do appreciate it. I will see everyone back in this feed on Thursday to go over some more football stuff. And like I said again, shout out to Florida, shout out to Rory McIlroy, and shout out to us, man. NFL draft's upcoming. It's the best time of sports. All the sports are kind of being talked about. And man, how many days till the NFL? What'd they say? 142 days left. Almost there, man.